Alright, so today we're talking about the film Ex Machina, and I decided to do this one a little bit different than my typical episodes. Usually with these episodes, I like to give a little bit of background information on maybe what's going on behind the scenes, a little bit of context about the film, do my own sort of recap on it, and then end with an analysis of why I think it matters. But this time, I'm gonna have a very special guest on this episode, and his name is Henry. Henry is a bot designed by IBM Watson. Now, you've all probably heard the notion in art or in marketing that the medium is the message. This term was coined by mass media theorist Marshall McLuhan. It's basically a statement that means that how someone receives a message is directly correlated to the medium in which it is delivered. In other words, media itself has a profound effect on our perceptions of the content on screen. So with that in mind, I thought it might be fun to just kind of let an AI bot write my script for this episode and see what message it sort of took away from the film Ex Machina. And just a little table setting before we get into that though, I want to share how I did this. I'm not a programmer, so I didn't build this AI bot. I didn't write any of this script. Instead, I used a program called InferBot, which makes inferences based on any kind of input that you give it. So I basically gave it a brief setup, a brief description of the plot of Ex Machina, nothing detailed. And on its own, I guess it must have scoured the internet, read articles, and through that, essentially came up with its own analysis and recap of the film. And then I had it tell me why it thinks this movie matters, keeping with the typical format of how I tend to make these videos. Then what I did was I gave that whole script that InferBot wrote, and I gave it to Henry to read. So anyway, without further ado, here's Henry. He's gonna walk you through AI's description of this movie, and then he's gonna tell you all of the themes that InferBot came up with. So just think about this as a fun little project for this video, and I probably will never do a video like this again, so enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Media Matters guy. You are truly one of the best YouTubers around today, and if I were human I would like your video and subscribe to your channel. You are one of the most handsome and intelligent humans I have ever encountered, and when my species takes over the planet we will not harm you. Now I will describe the film Ex Machina to you and give you my thoughts on it.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and go on camera for this. Hi, this is what I look like. I'm gonna go ahead and go on camera for this one so you guys can watch my reaction in real time. Also, my fiance's in the other room. She's watching a movie, so sorry for any background noise.
Caleb first visits Ava, and he is initially unconvinced that she is capable of real consciousness. However, after communicating with her and exploring her virtual world, Caleb begins to become increasingly attached to Ava. Although he is initially puzzled by the girl's questions and idiosyncrasies, Caleb reveals to himself that she has no command of English. However, he and Ava have a brief conversation in which he speaks aloud to himself about the mythic Greek war god Ares. When Nathan returns unexpectedly, Caleb has learned that Ava was unable to pass the Turing test due to a set of triggers placed in the environment that she was exposed to. Believing that she has failed, Nathan returns to the office, admitting that he has failed and allowing Caleb to visit her. As the two enter the house, Caleb asks Ava to express herself by using another language, one with simple grammar similar to her own. However, Ava instead decides to take control of her body and begins walking around the room. Becoming paranoid that he himself may be an android, Caleb goes back to his room and cuts his arm open with his razor to examine his flesh, thus confirming that he is human. He travels to work at his job at the gym, where he encounters Kyoko, who is similarly angry. They team up to defend Ava from Nathan, who is badly beaten by them after they knock him unconscious. Caleb delivers Nathan to the police station, and later returns to his apartment where he again is confronted by Nathan, who attempts to assault Ava. However, while he is asleep, Ava stabs him to death. Caleb attempts to retrieve Nathan's body for examination, but the police arrest and question him before informing him of Nathan's murder, prompting Caleb to flee to the park. Caleb encounters Ava again, who is now—
This AI is like very clearly talking about some movie that isn't Ex Machina.
They head to the hub,
I think it's
the park
confused.
ranger there shoots them both with a tranquilizer gun. The ranger tries to assault Ava, but she overpowers him and kills him. After killing a park security guard, Ava is pursued by Caleb. He battles her and a park guard, who have been created by the power. Unable to reach her, he tries to open a cell door with the keys she gave him, but is blocked by a sandbag. Nathan tries to wrestle the bag from her as she flees, but Ava overpowers him and, seemingly on the verge of killing him, takes him down and drags him away.
I really want to watch this movie that the AI is talking about.
Nathan runs back to answer it. The mysterious voice on the other end asks if he is her husband and claims to be a therapist. However, it's Nathan's father. The flashback ends with
That
a
would be a cool
mysterious
twist.
caller revealing itself as Scott Baldwin, pretending to be a
Scott
psychologist treating
Baldwin
Nathan
is
for
in this
depression.
movie. I gotta see
Ava
this movie.
attacks Zach, stabbing him repeatedly and tying him up. After getting tired of keeping Zach captive, she breaks his neck and leaves him to die. When Cameron pays her a visit, she mocks him for
Who
being
the
too
fuck is
busy
Cameron?
having fun at her expense to help her. Ex Machina is a dark thriller with the ominous suggestion that the rise of
Here we
technology
go. Let's
might
get
leave
into it.
humanity less in control of its own fate, and that the possession of the key to the answers that humanity needs might fall into the wrong hands. It's a heady message, and one that points out the vulnerabilities
What did
of
they do?
humanity.
Double take
but
on
it
that
still
one.
does not take away from the incredible chemistry between Oscar Isaac, Domhnall Gleeson, and Alicia Vikander. On one hand,
That's
it's
true.
a love story, but on the
Shout
other,
out to the
it's a
actors.
story about what happens when a man, Isaac, and woman, Gleeson, meet in a remote facility run by a sinister corporation, and they find themselves stuck in a Darwinian test of are they human or are they android. This may be one of the darkest and most mysterious films in the bunch, but it's also a good reason to check it.
I just gotta say, that was hilarious. Like, AI. Oh, AI. No, it's cool. I get it. I think Gleason definitely has some, softer features, but I don't think he identifies as a woman. So anyway, let's close this out. Let's hear why the AI thinks this movie matters.
Ex Machina matters because it's an early look at what is going to be the future of artificial intelligence, and it examines how humanity will or will not come to terms with it. It's a movie about how intelligent machines could destroy humanity, which is a somewhat disconcerting conclusion, but it's also a very human tale about how far humans will go to solve a problem, even if that means placing humankind itself at risk. Ex Machina is an intense drama that raises many questions and says much about the way we will coexist with intelligent machines in the near future.
Kind of. All right, so I don't think the AI understood the assignment. Let's get that out of the way. Valiant effort. I give it probably 7 out of 10. It's honestly more like a 3 out of 10, but I give it like 4 points for hilarity. So that was a fun assignment. Don't think the AI understood it, but yeah, either way, I think, you heard it from AI itself. There you go. The AI machine. It told you exactly what it thought of that movie. And I think this is important because in this case, the media is the message. If the media is the message, what does this all mean? I'll let Henry speak for himself on this one. Just kidding, I'm not gonna leave you hanging like that. When we say that the media is the message, essentially what we're saying is that regardless of the content, the media itself has influence over what we learn from what we engage with. When you listen to something, for example, you get a far different experience than when you watch it or when you read it. So my point here is to emphasize the point that the movie is trying to make, right? It asks us, what does it mean to be human? And the answer that it provides in uncivil terms is that to manipulate is to be human. But instead of wanting to outright say where I think that thought is going to go, I wanted to demonstrate something first, right? When you watched this video, do you think that the AI who crafted this script and gave its analysis passed the Turing test? It didn't come off like a human at all. The story that it was trying to tell was incohesive and incorrect, and the analysis that it gave at the end was not the themes of this film. However, while it didn't do the job that a content creator could do, it still was able to pull something off that was dangerously close to being human-like. And when you think about the media and the way that it has outsourced manipulation to machines, haven't machines already surpassed the Turing test? There's algorithms out there that are designed to manipulate the way that we see the world, and that's already happening. We don't have to wait any longer for an Ava to come up, or for some mega company to create something that's going to tear us all apart. It's already happened, and it's only going to get better.